It doesn't happen all at once. One day, something breaks inside you, quietly, not with a scream, but with a silence so deep that even pain stops showing up. You stop reacting, you stop crying, you stop feeling, and people might even call it strength. You're handling it so well, but they don't see the truth. You're not handling it, you're disappearing. It's strange how easy it is to fool the world when you've learned to fool yourself. You wake up, go through the motions, answer messages, even smile in the right moments. But behind that practiced calm, something in you has gone completely still, like a lake with no wind, no ripples, but a storm hidden far beneath the surface. This is what happens when your body decides that survival matters more than living. When your mind decides that feeling nothing is safer than feeling everything. It's not weakness, it's protection. And it begins so quietly that you almost don't notice it happening. Maybe it started the day you realized no one was coming to comfort you. Maybe it began the first time your feelings were dismissed, minimized, or mocked. Maybe it's been building for years. The slow erosion of trust. One heartbreak, one betrayal, or one disappointment at a time. At some point, your nervous system made a choice. If feeling hurts this much, then I'll stop feeling. That's how emotional numbness begins. Psychologists call it a protective freeze response. Your body shuts down emotional intensity because it associates vulnerability with danger. It's not that you can't feel, it's that you've been taught that emotions are unsafe territory. So you learn to flatten your own waves, to turn every emotional storm into quiet compliance. You build walls out of composure, polish your tone, and perfect your ability to say, I'm fine. But fine is not peace, it's camouflage. You stop crying not because the sadness left, but because it stayed too long. You stop arguing not because you found peace, but because you've given up on being understood. You stop dreaming not because you don't want more, but because wanting feels dangerous, and the world rewards you for it. You're calm, collected, unbothered. People start calling you the strong one. They don't realize that strong is just another word for numb. You learn that people love the version of you that doesn't need anything, so you make sure that version never cracks. You smile when you're exhausted. You comfort others when you're breaking. And when someone asks how you are, you change the subject because even the truth feels too heavy to say out loud. But no one tells you what happens when you suppress emotion for too long. The body keeps score. The nervous system remembers. And over time, the numbness that once protected you becomes a cage you can't escape. You start feeling disconnected, not just from others, but from yourself. You can't tell what you want anymore. You can't tell what you like or even what you feel. You laugh at jokes, but the sound doesn't echo inside. You watch sunsets, but beauty feels distant, like something happening to someone else. And yet, beneath the silence, something aches. A faint whisper from the part of you that still remembers what it felt like to be alive. The part that wants to cry, to love, to rage, to feel something. But that voice feels dangerous because every time you've opened that door before, it led to pain. So you keep the door shut. You call it peace, but it's really paralysis. You call it control, but it's really fear. You call it strength, but it's really survival. Emotional numbness is the mind's way of saying, I can't keep breaking like this. But there's a cost to that silence, because when you shut down the pain, you shut down the joy too. When you bury your sadness, you also bury your capacity for love. And over time, even happiness begins to feel foreign. like a language you used to speak but can no longer understand. Still, the numbness doesn't last forever. Eventually, the body starts to thaw. Sometimes it happens suddenly. A song, a smell, a memory. Sometimes it happens slowly, through therapy, safety, or love that doesn't demand perfection. But when it happens, it's messy. You begin to feel everything you spent years avoiding: the grief, the anger, the fear, all the emotions that froze inside you come rushing back, asking to be seen. You might find yourself crying for no reason, feeling rage at small things, breaking down in moments that don't make sense. That's not regression, that's release. That's your body remembering it's allowed to feel again. And yes, it hurts, because thawing is painful. But pain, when it's felt fully, is movement. And movement is life returning. Healing from numbness isn't about forcing yourself to feel. It's about creating safety so your emotions can return naturally. You don't need to dig for tears or chase happiness. You need to make your inner world safe enough for them to visit. You start small, moments of quiet, a deep breath without judgment, a walk where you actually notice the world around you. You let softness return one heartbeat at a time. And when emotion comes back, don't push it away. When tears rise, let them. When laughter catches you off guard, let it. When grief hits you out of nowhere, let it. Because every time you allow yourself to feel, even a little, you're teaching your body that it's safe again. This is what healing really looks like. Not a straight line, not a perfect calm, but the gradual unfreezing of a heart that's been locked away for too long. You start to notice small things: the warmth in a friend's voice, the way music sounds when it finally hits you again, the quiet joy in ordinary moments. And that's when you realize you were never broken. You were just protecting yourself the only way you knew how. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to stop running from who you were before the world taught you to hide. Because underneath all the silence and composure, there's still a pulse. There's still life. There's still you. And one day, when the numbness finally fades, you'll feel it. That fragile, terrifying, beautiful thing called emotion. It will come back slowly, like sunlight through a window that's been closed for years. And you'll remember what it's like to be alive again. Not the version that performs strength, not the version that hides behind control, but the version that breathes, that breaks, that feels. The version that's real. And maybe that's what healing truly is. Not escaping the pain, but finally being free enough to feel it.